Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to talk about my most anticipated September new releases. So if you've watched my channel for a while, then you know that this video is not going to be all books that I will be reading. I just look at all the new releases and talk about the ones that sound the most interesting to put them on your radar. This month we have 36 books to talk about, so there's a lot of new releases coming out. Before I get started though, I did want to put your attention to something very important going on in the book community, in the publishing world, in the book consumerism side. In case you haven't heard about it yet, but like some bigger booktubers have been talking about it, but I did want to, I think it's very important, so I did want to share about this thing that is going on. If you love listening to audiobooks, but also if you just love reading and want it to stay the same, meaning it's human made, like all aspects of publishing is human made, then I think this is a very important cause. So Audible and Amazon have been up to their massive monopolizing capitalism going out of hand shenanigans. They want to turn Audible into like some sort of subscription service with a lot of AI generated audiobooks, which, as I'm sure you can guess where that will lead to, actual human narrators being cut out of that field, which I would hate because I've just gone into audiobooks and I think the narrators do an excellent job with audiobooks, so I do want that to continue. Plus, their scheme makes it so some authors have to give their earnings to other authors. It's just like a convoluted mess that doesn't make any sense. And I think if you know about it, I don't think anybody would agree to this practice. So there is a change.org petition. I already signed it, and I would definitely urge you to sign it too. All the information you need is in that change.org petition, but also I'll leave some videos made by Daniel Green, and also Jen over at the Book Refuge made a extensive video. So I would definitely check those videos out. If you don't have time to watch a couple videos, just read the petition and sign it if you agree with it. So yeah, I did want to mention it in the beginning of this video, but I will try and mention it here and there as well, because I think it's just very important. And I don't think you could disagree with me if you watch any of the videos or if you read the petition. So thank you for listening, and let's get to all the new releases that come out in September. So on September 2nd, there are 5 books that come out. The first one is one of my most anticipated new releases. I will be reading this book and doing a new releases vlog for it. It's Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. This is the prequel to the Letters of Enchantment series, which of course that duology starts with Divine Rivals, which that duology was very popular when it came out. So this book takes place like centuries before, where you follow a goddess named Matilda. She's the youngest goddess, and she has to carry words and letters through the realms. And there's this mortal boy who dreams of her, and despite the fact that they never met. 10 years ago, Vincent wrote to Matilda on the darkest night of his life, begging the goddess he befriended in dreams to help him, but she doesn't answer him. So he moves on. He became the hardened, irreverent Lord of the River, who has long forgotten Matilda. That is until she comes stumbling into his bedroom window with a letter for him. So they were destined to find each other beyond dreams. So there's a chance for Matilda to rewrite the blood-soaked ways of the gods, but at immense sacrifice. She will have to face something she fears even more than losing her magic, to be vulnerable and to allow herself to finally be loved. So I don't care what this book was going to be about. I was going to read it regardless, so I'm very excited about this one. Next is Every Step She Takes by Alison Cochrane. This is a female-female romance. So 35-year-old Sadie needs an escape. So when her injured sister offers Sadie her place on a tour along Portugal's Camino de Santiago, she decides this is the perfect chance to get away from it all. And after 3 glasses of wine on the plane and some turbulence, convinces Sadie she won't even survive the flight. She confesses all her secret to her seatmate Mel. But the plane doesn't crash, and it turns out Mel is also on the same Camino tour. Apparently this is a tour specifically for queer women, and this will lead her to self-discovery. Mel is also grappling with some stuff, and they get closer, and this is gonna be their romance. I heard amazing things about Alison Cochrane. I've not read a book by her yet. Next is Love Walked In by Sarah Chamberlain. He has a struggling bookshop. She has a knack for bringing bookstores back to life. So she is an American bookstore whisperer, and he's a grumpy British owner of a bookstore, a struggling bookstore. So they are opposites attract. She's sunshine, he's grumpy. And this takes place in London, which of course I love. This sounds cute. And it sounds like you can read this like during the fall, winter time. Next is The Good Girl Effect by Sarah Kate. This is the next generation series to her Salacious Players Club. So these are children of the characters from the Salacious Players. And this is, I believe, like a sex club in Paris, if I remember correctly from Sarah's Instagram. Oh yeah, and it says here, right here in the description. So Jack St. Clair is desperate, a grieving single father. He buries himself in his work, running a brand new kink club in Paris. And he needs a nanny for his daughter. So Camille wasn't looking for a new job. She just wanted to return a lost love letter she'd found within the pages of a book. But when she's mistaken for a job candidate and hired as Jack's live-in nanny, something tells her this is exactly where she needs to be. So this is like another confusing situation where the guy thinks the girl is there for a job when she's not, which is what happened in Praise. So while she's living there, she discovers like this kinky side to Jack. She's drawn to the broken man who hides his grief in ropes and bondage, and she challenges him in ways that he never thought possible. You know, I've only read one book by Sarah Kate, but I really enjoyed it, and I really need to continue on with this, like with the original series, so that I can get to her Next Generation series. By the Horns by Ruby Dixon. So this is the second book in the Royal Artifactual Guild, which the first book is Bull Moon Rising. And this is another book about a bull, or minotaurs, sorry. So Gwenna has always considered herself a normal person, a former servant. She wants nothing more than to land a steady job with the Royal Artificial Guild, so she can make some steady coin to send home to her mother. She's not special, and she's definitely not a necromancer, because that is forbidden upon penalty of death, but the dead keeps speaking to her. So she's trying to ignore him. Who she also is trying to ignore is big, arrogant, far too flirty Taurian named Raptor, because they slept together once, and he wants more, but she doesn't have time for that. Because she wants to be a trainee for the Royal Artificial Guild, but Raptor won't go away. He's on a secret mission for the guild to find an artifact thief, and he thinks that she's the thief. So this is obviously gonna be their romance. I do own the first book. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I didn't hear the best things about it, but you know, we'll see. I will look out for reviews for the second book. September 9th, another 5 books come out. The first one is the one that I am definitely very excited for, and once again, will be reading as soon as it's in my hands, and it's Wildcard by Elsie Silver. This is the 4th and final book in the Rose Hill series by her, the first book being Wild Love. This is a ex-boyfriend's dad romance, which, if you know anything about me, that is one of my least favorite tropes, but I trust Elsie Silver to do it justice for me, so hopefully I'll love this one. So you follow Sebastian, and he's a grumpy, hot as hell fire pilot who's damn good with his hands. So a chance meeting brought them together, but a misconnection has kept them apart. 1 year later, a stroke of fate has them living under the same roof, which obviously will only turn into complications. But he's working on mending a fragile relationship with his son, so of course, him dating his son's ex-girlfriend would not help in repairing that relationship. Next is People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. Prudence Welsh has found solace in her introverted life in Baysville, a charming tourist town in northern Ontario. Despite once dreaming of a life beyond its borders, she now finds contentment in her working at her father's gas station, writing poetry, and caring for her mother, who was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's shortly after Prue's 19th birthday. Enter Milo, an enigmatic wanderer, rolls into town just when Prue needs a change. It's all too easy to let go with him, and they strike an unlikely friendship, which leads to a wild and sexy agreement between them. Milo, a man of many adventures and countless stories, is not one to settle down. However, his brother's urgent need for help has brought him to Baysvale, and now intriguing Prue has given him more reasons to stay. Especially once they start spending more time together, their chemistry intensifying, and casual sex lessons at Prue's request. I really love this cover. It like, I don't know, it reminds me of Gilmore Girls, and it screams fall, so very excited about this one. Next is Game On by Key Stevens. This, of course, as you can see, is a sports romance between a cheerleader and a star quarterback. She is from the UK, and she has this like amazing hot night with Hudson, and this is gonna be their romance. I don't know. It doesn't have the highest rating, but everybody, like, I don't know, the reviews I read, everybody says that it's a good book, but then I don't understand why the rating is not that high. So that makes me even more intrigued. Next is another very fall cover, and it's The Honeycrisp Orchard Inn by Valerie Bowman. So this is a romance following a young event planner who returns to her family's inn on an apple orchard to help run their harvest festival, only to find herself butting heads with the handsome son of the apple orchard's owners. I think that is really all you need to know. It is obviously being compared to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Love Light series. And this is also a roommates to lovers romance, which that is one of my favorite tropes, so it sounds cute and cozy and fun. Picture Perfect by Tessa Bailey. This is the 4th book in her Big Shots series, which is her sports romance series, the first book being Fangirl Down. And this is a sports romance between a playboy hockey rookie and a disciplined softball pitcher, completely immune to his charms. So this is a fake dating romance because she's immune to his charms, but he kind of is intrigued by her, and he realizes that she has a crush on her brother's best friend. So he proposes that they fake date so that the other guy will find her intriguing, which of course we have seen this trope around a lot of times. So I don't know if I'm gonna read this one. We'll see. Then for the books coming out on September 11th, which there are 2 that come out on September 11th. The first book being The Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore. This is the 5th book in the Dream Harbor series. The first book, of course, being The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. When Jeannie and Logan get married, the whole town pitches in to help with their wedding. And now Annie and Mac have to put aside their dislike for each other just long enough for the I-do's. This is going to be their enemies to lovers romance. So I read the second book and I liked it. I haven't continued on, but I believe I do remember Mac and Annie, and I did find them intriguing in the second book. Another one that comes out on September 11th is Thorn Season by Kiara Azar, and this is a young adult romantasy. So in the kingdom of Daradon, a persecuted few are the wielders, able to exert a physical power that extends beyond visible. Feared and mistrusted for this ability, wielders have always been hunted. Alyssa Payne, heiress of noble lineage, daughter of a hunter family, is also a wielder. And as she approaches her 18th season, Alyssa knows she has escaped execution so far only through painful self-control and the fragile effort of her beloved father. Summoned to the harsh and glittering royal court for the debutante season, Alyssa finds herself trapped in a web of hidden intentions and caught between 2 equally dangerous men. One is a brutal ruler with the handsome face of a fairy tale prince who would see her destroyed in an instant if the truth were known. And the other is a beguiling foreign ambassador with secret agendas of his own. This sounds like a lot of things I've already read, but I mean, if a meal is good, I want to keep eating it. So 2 books come out on September 16th. The first one is We Met Like This by Casey West. So Casey West has been known to write young adult romances, and this is her first adult romance. So you follow Margot, who's a hopeless romantic. That's why she wants to be a literary agent to help bring romance books to the world. And it's also why she hates dating apps. I feel you, girl. With all her romance-loving soul, she wants her own love story to be just as much fun as the books she reads. Her problem is that her most consistent relationship over the last several years is with Oliver, a guy she keeps rematching with on the apps. They've only been on 1 date and it was a disaster. Well, until the makeout session in the car before parting ways. But she keeps reminding herself a makeout session does not a relationship make. So there will be no date between the two, regardless of how witty their app banter is. But, you know, when she needs help with opening up her own agency, he's there and is like the most steady person that she's ever dated. So it's gonna be their romance. This is very relatable to me in ways. So I really want to make an effort to actually get to it. Next is With Stars in Her Eyes by Andy Burke. Another female romance, and I really love this cover. What a beautiful cover. After a catastrophic career debut, cellist Courtney Starling escapes to her happy place, her best friend's bookshop in Kansas, and Thea Quinn has just started her new piercing job at the tattoo shop next door. She moved to this quirky corner of Kansas for a fresh start, but she's homesick, so she thinks maybe she needs to connect to some potential new friends, like perhaps a historical romance book club run by a particular mysterious and sexy bookseller with a pixie cut. It's gonna be that romance. Really what drew me was the cover, I'm not gonna lie. Next are the books that come out on September 23rd, and there are 9 of them. The first one is one I've been looking forward to ever since it was announced, and it's Alchemized by Senlin Yu. This is a new romantasy. Basically, the evil powers have won. Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistance friends and allies have all been murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. And in the aftermath of the long war, Palladia's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers whose vile undead creatures help bring about their victory holds Helena captive. So they always assumed that she was a healer of little importance, but because her memories have been wiped, they think it's for a reason and she's more important than they always thought she was. To uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this new world. And, you know, there are secrets, things happen. I'm very excited about this one. Tourist Season by Brynne Weaver. This is the first book in her new trilogy called the Seasons of Carnage trilogy, which of course Brynne Weaver wrote Butcher and Blackbird, which a lot of people read and love. So Cape Carnage is a seaside town of colorful houses, quirky shops, and an unusually high body count. But with tourist season comes trouble, and Harper Starling won't let anyone ruin her picture-perfect home. A skilled gardener with killer instincts, Harper protects her sanctuary at all costs, especially for her aging mentor with a fading memory. Troublesome tourists don't check out of Carnage. They compost beneath Harper's award-winning flower beds, but Nolan Rhodes isn't your average tourist. Devilishly handsome, disarmingly charming, and skilled with a blade, Nolan is restless in the pursuit of revenge. On every anniversary of the hit-and-run accident that fractured his life, Nolan slays another target, and he saved the best for last, the undeniably beautiful Harper Starling. The problem? Harper isn't the monster he expected, and she won't go down without a fight. When an amateur true crime investigator comes to Cape Carnage on the trail of a long-lost serial killer, Harper and Nolan strike an uneasy truce. If Nolan helps Harper protect her town, she'll keep quiet about his hunting habits, for now. But their alliance soon spirals into obsession, one that threatens to shatter every secret in Carnage, including their fragile love. So this is once again a serial killer romance, which she has been known to write nowadays, like a more humorous take on that. So I don't know, I guess I'll wait. So I still need to read the third and final book in the Ruinous Love trilogy, and we'll see what the reception for her new series is to determine whether or not I want to read it. Next is The Heartbreak Hotel by Ellen O'Clover. The book is about Louisa Walsh, who, when she gets dumped and left unable to afford rent on their gorgeous house in the mountains of Colorado, Lou knows losing the one stable place she's ever called home is not an option, so she asks her reclusive landlord, Henry Rhodes, to let her stay for free in exchange for renting out the house's many rooms as a bed and breakfast. She's shocked when he agrees to her terms, and even more surprised to discover Henry is a handsome 30-something veterinarian with silver at his temples and sadness in his eyes. One who does not take it well when Lou starts marketing her B&B as a retreat for the recently heartbroken. And this is gonna be their romance. Ladies in Hiding by Alexandra Vosti. This is the third book in the Bell Wars Library series, the first book being Ne'er Duke Well. So this is a historical female-female romance. Celebrated authoress Lady Georgina Cleeve has achieved fame and fortune. Unfortunately, she's also acquired an enigmatic Lady Darling, whose spine-tingling plots appear to be pulled straight from Georgina's own manuscripts. What's a stubborn, silly writer to do? Unmask her rival, of course. But unmasking doesn't go according to plan, because Lady Darling is actually Cat Lacey, the butler's daughter and object of Georgiana's very secret, very embarrassing teenage infatuation. What Fury Brings by Tricia Levenseller. So this is another young adult author who is making their romantasy adult debut. So this is... Okay. So there's a shortage of men in the kingdom of Amara. After a failed rebellion against their matriarchy, most noblemen in the country are dead. Now the women of Amara must obtain their husbands, should they want one, by kidnapping them from other kingdoms. Olara, a warrior princess vying for the throne, is determined to prove her worth by kidnapping a husband, and not just any husband. To outmaneuver her treacherous cousin, she needs the best. Fortunately, the second-born prince of their greatest enemy is widely known for both his looks and his sweet, docile temperament. He's the perfect choice to secure her claim on the throne. Sonos, heir to the kingdom of Brutus, has nothing but contempt for the idea of a society run by women. Trained from birth to fight, lead, and follow in his father's overbearing footsteps, his path has always been set. Until he takes his younger brother's place in a drunken prank and finds himself kidnapped, carted off to the Amaran palace, and informed that he's to become the husband of Queen Potential Olara. Sonos needs to escape before anyone learns his real identity, but the more he gets to know his character, the less he's sure of what he truly wants. Bad for Business by Kat Singleton. This is the second book in the Pembroke Hills series, the first book being In Good Company. So this is a hate-to-love black cat golden retriever billionaire romance. So Riker Davenport is the reckless, arrogant heir to his family's company and my ticket to a big promotion. She's a publicist at one of the top PR firms in New York, and she wants to prove that she's deserving of a promotion by turning Riker back into the golden boy everyone once thought him to be and convince the board that he's fit to lead. The only catch? We've got some history, the complicated kind. Road Trip with the Vampire by Jenna Levine. This one has two different publication dates. On Amazon, it says September 23rd, so I'm sticking with that. But there's also an October 14th date, so it's either going to be in September or October. So this is the third book in the My Vampire series by her, the first book being My Roommate is a Vampire. This is a romance between a vampire who can't remember his past and a witch with secrets of her own, and they go on a road trip. The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. This is a devastating romantic epic fantasy about the undying bond between a knight and their mage. Perfect for fans of Gideon the Ninth and the Six Deaths of the Saint. So this feels like it's more leaning towards fantasy than romantasy. And the synopsis really doesn't give me a whole lot, but it does have a pretty high average rating, so I thought I'd talk about it here. Spellcaster by Jamin Eve. So this is an intense enemies to lovers romantasy set in a magical school, which I love those. So don't walk the halls late at night, don't disturb the ancient magic, and don't under any circumstances ever trust a spellcaster. When my magic bloomed at 22, the last thing I expected was to receive an acceptance letter to the most prestigious witch college in the world. It's not that I don't have magic, it's just unpredictable. But on the first day, she comes face to face with Logan Kingston, the son of my father's enemy. She's warned to avoid the powerful spellcaster at all costs, but apparently Logan didn't receive the same memo. The more time I spend around him, the more I crave his unsettling attention, and as hate flirts with obsession, I'm left wondering if there's another side to the decades-old feud between our fathers. Uncharmed by Lucy Jane Wood, another book with confusing release dates. It says here either September 25th or September 16th, so I'm gonna go for September 25th. This is the second book in the Rewitched series, the first book being Rewitched. This is a cozy, witchy romance, which I tend to love those. Annie Wildwood is practically perfect in every which way. Her life is a haze of pink, magic, and impossibly high standards, but when she's tasked with mentoring a troubled teenager with extraordinary powers, Annie's charmed existence is quickly thrown into utter chaos. So I don't know who her romance is with. Now for the books that come out on September 30th. The first book is House of Rain by Harley LaRue. So Harley LaRue is one of my favorite authors. I'm very excited about this one because this is a gothic female-female romance. So they start off with a one-night stand, then they meet again on a remote island in the Pacific Northwest where one of them runs her family's bed and breakfast. Listen, I really didn't need to know what this book was about. I knew it was by Harley LaRue, and that's really all I needed to know. Burning Daylight by Emily McIntyre. This is the first book in her new series called Defying the Stars. This, I believe, I don't know, it reads like a Romeo and Juliet retelling. Juliet Calloway lives in a world of luxury, legacies, and lies. The daughter of Rosebrook Fall's most powerful family, her life is a carefully crafted performance, and she's tired of being polished to perfection. Roman Montgomery doesn't exist, not officially anyway. He's a shadow, a hidden weapon, the secret heir to an empire soaked in danger, and a generations-old feud. When their paths cross, sparks fly. No names, no pasts. Just reckless smiles and an undeniable chemistry neither of them can shake. When Roman is called back to claim his place as heir to the Montgomery Empire, the truth crashes down. Their families are sworn enemies, and Roman's very existence is a threat. Their love isn't just forbidden, it's impossible. So yeah, enemies to lovers, it sounds fun. Next is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. This is first book in a new series called Sweetwater Peak. Lila Sage really has amazing covers, I do have to say. So this book features a small town upholsterer in need of a fresh start, a photographer whose life has come to a screeching halt, and the supernatural forces that bring them together. So Collins Cartwright doesn't want to go home, but when she finds out a developer is trying to buy her parents' antique shop out from under them, she doesn't have a choice. At least that's what she tells her family. They don't need to know that she's lost her job and is out of money, and also the ghosts that have always been her companions have recently gone silent. She doesn't want to stay with her parents or with her sisters, so the new-to-town upholsterer has a room for rent above his store. But the store is filled with ghosts, but of course they are not talking to her, and it's gonna be their romance. Paranormal romance coming out in September. What more do I need, really? Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. This is like her newest book. I think she's done with her other series, I'm not sure, but this is as you can see, a holiday romance. So Clara Davenport wants to solve Fraser's Fall's biggest problem. According to Jack Kelly, Clara is Fraser's Fall's biggest problem. Okay, so Clara Davenport has always wanted to climb the ladder at Davenport Innovation Creative, her family's toy business. Everything was going according to plan until the company was accused of stealing a doll design from an independent toy maker, creating a flurry of bad publicity. So now with a promotion dangled in front of her like a carrot to a reindeer, Clara is tasked with charming the locals of the small town to solve the PR nightmare by any means necessary. Jack Kelly would be happy to never hear the name Davenport again. Less than a year after a guy in a fancy suit appeared on his doorstep, the company that once falsely claimed they wanted to sign him to their small business program has copied his design. So when Clara prances into town hoping to convince Fraser Falls that her company is not the enemy, Jack is determined not to be fooled by Davenport twice. So of course it's going to be their romance. And the last not direct sequel is Witch of the Wolves by Kaylee Archer. So this is a werewolf romantasy. So Cordelia Levin comes from a long line of powerful witches. She's been flying under the radar in the human world, focused on strengthening her magic. She loves working at her aunt's apothecary in London, secretly serving supernaturals, until the truth about her family is finally revealed. She always assumed her enhanced sense of smell came from her French perfumer father, but when Bishop Daniels abducts Cordelia at the request of her father, the Alpha, Cordelia learns that she's a lycan, sharing both witch and werewolf traits. She's brought to the Pack estate under the guise of protection from foreign threats who want to use her to continue their bloodline. She quickly learns that to keep her from being sold off to another pack, her father intends to give Cordelia as a maid to Bishop, his second in command and the future Alpha. She obviously doesn't want to accept this, but when she learns Bishop plans to challenge her father's power, she reluctantly begins to trust him, and it's going to be that romance. I love a werewolf romance, so I'm definitely going to be partial to this. Now for the direct sequels, I have 7 to talk about. As always with this section, I assume that if you're interested in a direct sequel, you already at least know what the first book is about, if not have already read the first book or like the earlier books. To not spoil myself or anybody else, I'm just gonna mention the title, the author, and when the book comes out. And if you want to know more information, I'll have every book linked for you. So definitely check out those links if you're interested to find out more. But I mean, tread carefully because it probably will spoil you if you've not read the book before it. So the first one I want to talk about is Fearful by Lauren Roberts. This is the 3.5 book in the Powerless trilogy, and this book comes out on September 2nd. Then there is Eldritch by Carrie Lake. This is the second book in the Eating Woods series by her, the first book being Anathema. And this one comes out on September 9th. The Primal of Blood and Bone by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 6th book in the Blood and Ash series. and this one comes out on September 23rd. Another book that comes out on September 23rd is A Steeping of Blood by Hafsa Faizal. This is the second book in the Blood and Tea series by her, the first book being A Tempest of Tea. On September 30th, Every Spiral of Fate by Tahara Mafi comes out, the fourth book in the Woven Kingdom series by her. Holly by Adeline Grace, which is the 3.5 book in the Belladonna series, also comes out on September 30th. And last but most certainly not least is Princess of Blood by Sarah Hawley, the second book in the Shards of Magic series, the first book being Servant of Earth, and this one also comes out on September 30th. So those were all the romances that come out in September. Definitely let me know in the comments below which one of these you're most excited about. I already told you which ones I'm definitely going to be reading for sure, but if you want me to read any other book, definitely let me know that. Don't forget to check out the petition and the videos I linked for you. If you want to say that you are here, but you don't actually want to leave me a comment saying anything, leave me a headphone emoji for like the whole Audible thing. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.